and does not play in the presentation, but on YouTube. If it will load.
Ik wil me liever zieker roken, decaperen. Maar speel toch liever niks dan dat ik binnen zit. Ze vinden dat ik minder moet gaan minderen. Bewonder wel de minder bedeelden voor de beelden die me verveelden op het internet. Ik heb pret, veel te vet, veel te fucking stoned voor mijn middagles. Alle grammetje van mijn laatste verdiende cap.
So that's a little introduction to my final work. So this spitting image, that's what it's called. It was a project I did for the precarious assignment. I dumped down the assignment a little bit. The assignment was basically find something precarious, then ask yourself, how can I make people aware of this? And precarity kind of means uncertainty, or the lack of means to live a certain existence, to put it more complicated. And that's a super vague assignment, but I think that was kind of the point, so you can take it anywhere you want. And it was kind of hard for me to start, so I just, we got a lecture about the 8-hour movement, which is this movement from the 1900s, and I just decided to say, fuck it, I'm gonna just use this as my starting point. The 8-hour movement is this movement about basically putting our day into boxes, so 8 hours of work, 8 hours of leisure, and 8 hours of rest, and structure our days like this. And this is still today how the work week works, a 40-hour work week, I think. And that was super interesting and made me think of this quote I heard by the poet and writer Joost Omens. He was on The Slimste Mens last year, if you watched that show. I want to make the world happier and less efficient, because I think that we used to have these nice and neat little boxes separating everything from each other. But especially today during Corona, working online and at home, those boxes are kind of filling or kind of crossing into each other, working during your leisure time or having leisure time during your work time. So it doesn't really work anymore. And I found that quote really interesting. So I thought I should do a little more research on that. So I decided to interview Joost Omens. It was a really nice interview. I emailed him. He asked me to come to Amsterdam, and I sat down with him, and we had a really nice conversation. It was like 40 minutes about this, and I won't go too in depth about it, but I really realized he meant this quote from more of a writer's perspective and not per se a political or societal perspective. So I really felt like maybe I should not use that or to go deeper into my work, but take this word efficiency and see what else I could do with it. So I went, we had a class with Rogier, the copywriter, and we basically sat down and we started saying, well, which things are super efficient and which things are a little less efficient. And someone screamed, oh, language. Language is super efficient. Language is a really nice way of exchanging ideas with each other. And talking about language and efficiency really reminded me of this project I saw a while ago, the Library of Babel. It's a little complicated to maybe summarize in a few words, but it's a website based on a book from the 1930s about the Library of Babel. And it's a library which holds anything ever written and anything that could ever be written. And how the website works is it realizes the story using a very complex algorithm to create every single possible combination of 3,200 characters. You can see there in the corner, the books are basically gibberish, but you can find every single sentence in there, which is extremely neat, I thought. And there's another project, the visual library of everything, and it works in the same way, having every single possible combinations of colors of pixels, allowing you to generate and find every single image that could ever be taken and has ever been taken in a certain quality. And that really made me think, if both text and image are finite, is there a point where nothing can be original anymore because everything has been done? And that question of originality really led me to the idea, well, is anything really original even? Because isn't anything and everything based or inspired off of something? And that brought me to an art historian called Abby Warburg. He's an art historian from the 1930s who believed that every human has instinctively forms images in the same way via this thing called the collective image bank. And he was going to prove this by taking pictures of paintings across the entire world and putting them up on these black tiles and connecting them. All these artists have no connection to each other than their work matches up. A Renaissance painter and a Neanderthaler who made a nice cave painting are somehow connected to each other. And that was super interesting. And it kind of made me want to take that same approach as the Library of Babel, where I take this thing that has been done a while ago and I blow it up. I make it real. I want to do something with that. And so I went to, and this is interesting, I went to the interaction station. I went to Boris and I explained my idea to him. And Boris is a tutor here. He can really help you with learning different techniques such as coding. And I said, Boris, I want to make this. And he said, all right, we're going to make this together then. And he really taught me how to code. And he showed me a lot of different tools I could use to realize this idea I had. So the first tool I used, without going into the code itself, is Tusne, which is a deep learning program. And it can create, you can feed it images or sounds, and it will create a point cloud. And that point cloud is organized based on how much things look like each other. So you can see here that it has a gradual decline from light to black. And these are 8,000 abstract paintings. Every little thing here is a different painting. And then that's it's quite hard to see. So then I used a different technique or a different plugin, Rasterfairy, and I can feed it that point cloud and it turns it into a really nice grid. And what I wanted to do with that is I wanted to put all of this up on a site, a system where you can feed it images and it sets it next to other images based on how much it looks like each other. So you can see how your work or your picture might look like something else to really show that nothing can really be original, or at least that's the concept. Then the name I picked was Spitting Image. Spitting Image is this British TV show from the 1980s where they used puppets of real life people to create comedy sketches. And I thought it was quite fitting because my project is about nothing being original. So I stole the name of a program that steals its comedy by using real people. I thought that was quite funny. And then I just made a website design. The idea is that the black squares here are the images. The unique images don't exist is where you can upload your own images. And then there's an about section where you can read about all the different things that went into my process. And this is basically, if I can go out of the presentation, this is my work. I put all the 8,000 pictures I had of abstract painting, and I put them through the program to create this huge kind of cluster of things that look like each other, and you can see it's almost like little islands. I feel like this really, like all of these other works form this new work. Like all these paintings form, almost a painting in of itself, which I thought was yeah, really beautiful. And I didn't even expect that. I thought it would more be like, haha, see, everything looks like each other, but I feel like this is just quite beautiful, even if you don't know what it's about. So I scroll through here a little bit, and eventually I zoom in so you can see that these are indeed all works. Yeah, I start to zoom in. And yeah, you can add your own pictures in here. You can upload them, and it enters it in the web to see how yours migrate to something else. It was pretty much it. This is where I am with the project now. But because I was talking about process, it's also that even though that this semester is finished, my work really isn't. You can always keep working on your projects if you're passionate about it. For example, I want to add this feature, which is from a Google experiment, X degrees of separation, where you can click on two images and it uses other images in your data set to connect them. So these, for example, are two paintings you randomly clicked on, and it uses other paintings to slowly morph into the other painting. Or, for example, a button where things turn from that point cloud into a grid. And I have a million other ideas like that. So you can always keep working on it, and you can always improve your project if you feel like you can. So that was pretty much it. And all good.
I think it's beautiful that you, as maybe coming student, get an insight in the way of thinking of Sam here, and also he brings you along in the process how things would work for him. And I think that's quite beautiful that you can enter the mind of another creator. So now we have
Yeah, and I think, one thing I want to add to it. So here you can see in the second year and the first project of the second year, this project is really about research. And you can see how Sam has researched his project and also the references that he found. And I think also in preparation of your admittance or in preparation of your art school, it's always good to make contact with all different kinds of sources that inspire you and that you will
All right, so I'm going to talk a bit about my work, my graduation work, which you don't see here. This is my website, so if you want to check out